Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for April 14th through 21st, 2025. Well, wow, what a powerful Libra Full Moon this last weekend. And that was the energy of the Libra Full Moon had so much to do with what we've been feeling this last week of the Sun coming up into a conjunction with Chiron in Aries. So this is bringing an intensity. The sun is who we think we are. In Aries, it's about, can we own our life force? Can we own our direct connection back to source? We're waking up to the fact that we have been hijacked and fed upon by external forces that seek to keep us as slaves. And we are beautiful, powerful, advanced beings. So this cannot go on any longer. Now that we know our power, we already won. And yet we seem to have to stand in this place of wrestling it back, not fighting, but not backing down either, like a bloom of the biggest energies of the bullies over this whole evolution. And this is because it's so strange because we have the sun in Aries and this very powerful energy of the Aries is fire, the new rebirth and wholeness of the potential of the human. But with Venus and Mercury in retrograde in Pisces, now Mercury turned direct on the 7th, but still at the end degrees of Pisces and just coming up now 28 degrees Pisces today. And so finishing up, and we'll move over into the sign of Aries for the third and final time for Mercury this cycle over the Aries point on April 17th. So this next few days is this culmination energy of basically we are having to go back through the patterns, into the patterns, the painful patterns of the past, to like jimmy our way out of the nightmare. And so just know that the nightmare is playing out for a lot of supernova souls. And yet I know that you're feeling stronger and more resolute in your being. And so just know that that means you're holding your space, you're holding your vibration. But it's like there is a big challenge right now for us, and to stay in our body, to stay in aligned. And so just be really, really present, because at the same time as this crazy, painful things playing out, we've got this incredible new hope that's coming, that's building, this excitement, this leap that cannot be taken from us. Every time we've had these spiritual impulses come into our lives, supernova souls, we then, through these astrological transits, the nefarious forces have sought to block those energies and keep us from being able to receive. So we're at this precipice point where they're holding on for dear life, the parasitic forces. And yet, the astrology says that there's no other way forward but a rebirth. And in fact, we are having a countdown to rebirth, it seems, this week, because Mercury in the coming to the end degrees of Pisces is in trine, and Venus has been trine, Saturn's been trine Mars. Mars is coming to the end degrees of Cancer. And so all of these have been trine to Mars, but now Mercury is really coming into an exact trine with Mars, and that is happening on, well, it started on the 8th and 9th, and it goes to the 16th. So we've got a couple of more days of this energy, but Mercury and Mars came into exact trine at 26 degrees, 27 degrees, 28 degrees to today, tomorrow, and then 29 degrees. So that means that Mercury and Mars are trying each other. This is in the same element, right? So they're both in water and they're both moving into fire. Very powerful. The beginning of the fire signs has a huge energy of expression and life and power and confidence. So it's going to be quite a shift of energy around that time, the 17th, 19th, where the 17th is when Mercury moves over into Aries, the 19th, Mars moves into Leo. The Sun moves into Taurus on the 20th, 19th, 20th. And so we've got the Sun at the end degrees of Aries having a very dramatic play with that conjunction with Chiron. And then we'll come into a square with Mars, but not until the Sun moves over into Taurus. So there's this crazy conglomerate of energies that start to happen next week with that Sun moving into Taurus and these planets moving into fire signs. And then we come into the last week of April has this really intense square energy, T square, fixed T square. It's Mars coming, so that sun is triggering it first. Okay, so the Sun is going to square up with Mars on the 21st, but as Mars actually moves over into the sign of Leo, coming into an opposition with Pluto and a square with Black Moon Lilith, and they're both at 3 degrees. So the Sun is doing this as well, and the Sun will square up with Mars and oppose Black Moon Lilith on the 21st and 22nd. And then Mars will oppose Pluto and square Black Moon Lilith on the 26th and 27th of this month. So we're like just on the verge of moving into this. We've kind of had this whole retrograde drama that started back in October. And the last couple of months, we've had lots of squares and sextiles and conjunctions and trines. And, but we had Mars square Chiron in the background. And then Mars square Chiron's coming off, and now Mars is moving into his third and final square with Black Moon Lilith. And very powerful that the previous two squares between Black Moon Lilith and Mars happened in cardinal signs, the end of cardinal signs, Cancer and Libra. Now in the beginning of fixed signs. So the fixed signs are about establishing something new, an order, an authority, four walls, this kind of fixed energy of a completion, an energy of that we've come to a place of a chapter end and new beginning. And of course, all of this astrology is speaking to this with Neptune at 0 degrees Pisces right now. Aries, having been in Pisces since 2011. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. And so we got the message that Neptune in Pisces was really about rehashing, freeing us from the traumas and the dramas of the Piscean Age. And it's so wild. It's like Neptune has made the move to Aries, but will transit back into the end degrees of Pisces later this year. And but Mercury and Venus are like coming right up there, going to cross over and conjunct with Neptune right there at that 0 degrees. And I believe Venus will conjunct Neptune at 1 degree. So it's an incredibly powerful configuration, saying that we now dream a new dream. Okay, so Mercury is coming over this in the next couple of days, going over Neptune and moving over into Aries. And so that powerful moment of Mercury, Neptune, 0 degrees, Aries, for Mercury's third and final time is a new perspective on a new dream, right? So it's like we're finally able to see how it is and the way that we can move forward. And so that's the really powerful energy of this 2-week period of time from that full moon in Libra leading up to the new moon in Taurus. And that new moon in Taurus is on Sunday, April 27th, 28th, and happening at 7 degrees, 47 minutes of Taurus. So that's going to be right there with all these things, not too far away, the beginning degrees of Taurus in that. Basically, we're looking at this fixed T-square, now a grand fixed cross with Mars opposite Pluto and Black Moon Lilith opposite the Sun and the Moon for the new moon. So it is really inviting us into an embodiment. Okay, so Taurus is about, are you worthy? Do you deserve? This, and it's this energy of the plant filling out into form. And this is where we're at right now, that we are calling on a dramatic and most highest possible divine intervention to save our organic form, our organic earth, our organic body. And we can do this with every breath. We're just inviting in this new earth, this regeneration, this organic, loving earth. I walk with her, I'm with her, I feel her, she's with me. Because Taurus, as the Aries is like the seed, the sprout, the beginning of life and creation. And then Taurus is about coming out into form. It's less delicate, it's more established, and it kind of fits that energy of a fixed sign. And so we're trying to establish the Aquarian age with Pluto at the beginning degrees of Aquarius. But Mars is across the way coming back into Leo saying, how can we go? How can we move into the Aquarian age if we don't have our leaders? If we don't have the expression of the truth, of the love that we are here? That if we don't have full permission to express ourselves and come forward and find this within ourselves, then we can't lead humanity into this new age. And so the fixed T-square is like this cross in the sky saying, no, we can't keep going this way anymore. And Pluto wants to break it down. And so we're breaking down the ego constructs. That was Mars retrograde, right? And I don't know, most of us are feeling it right now, the end degrees of Pisces, end degrees of Cancer, the disintegration, the breaking down of everything that is false, wherever we've been holding on, wherever we've been going the wrong direction, wherever we've been disconnected, it's just this calling home in this moment to the reality of life in a body, and that we need to own it completely, our life in a body, if we want to keep our life in a body. And the life in a body is so that our spirit and our soul can grow and express itself, and be a part of co-creation. But this has been not allowed to happen, where our life force has been fed upon by these parasitic energies. And so what we're doing now is taking it back. And then how do we handle that energy? Do we deserve it? And what are we going to do with it? So that's kind of this. And then, in order to embody our light with that sun in Taurus and to really shine and be who we are here, we need to uncover the secrets about all the lies that we've been told. And for supernova souls, it really comes down to the one lie about the denial of who we are as advanced beings. With all these experiences over so many lifetimes. And so this is an incredibly powerful moment, and we're kind of leading up to this. And so those energies, it's like so cool that just this great shift of energy for Mercury and then Mars to move into the fire signs. But it means that Mars is coming into that square, this T-square. So it won't be until that really resolves the first week of May. So we need to get through that first week of May before we can really feel the energies of moving into the new excitement. And so it's intense. It's just like so much of everything is just saying we're at a massive crossroads, and we've got to establish new patterns. So we're all called into this. And of course, that means going into the disastrous patterns of the past and finding your feelings of regret, shame, failure. This is just, we're stewing around in the emotions of old grief, then having it be like massively triggered, and confusion about who we are with all of this Pisces energy. And Neptune sitting at 0 degrees, the Fool, 0 degrees Aries, the very beginning of the zodiac. We don't know whether we're coming or going. We don't know if we're in the nightmare or the dream. And so we have to take that step with every breath to build and believe in the dream. And that's going to get way easier as this retrograde energy resolves. So thank you for holding it down through this little darkest before the dawn time right now. It's really, really intense energies. If you're tapped into this, if you have any things at the end of cardinal signs, beginning of fixed signs, or cardinal at the end of end of cardinal, beginning of fixed, end of mutable, beginning of cardinal signs. These retrogrades, wow, it's just been so powerful. But let's talk this through, because Venus and Mercury have been close, and it's been so nice for Venus to have a buddy to go back into this darkness. But now Mercury is making his way, right? And it's interesting that he's having those exact trines with Mars, the countdown to the rebirth of reality, as we move into this, through this next week. And because it's like that countdown and the trine with Mercury and Mars leads us right into the intense T-square energy. The sun coming into square with Chiron happens on, the sun square Mars happens on the 21st. So the sun will be coming first into this configuration. So powerful that the sun and Mercury and Mars are moving over into new signs all around the same time. And so Mars making that, the sun coming into that fixed T square is kind of tossing our energy of identity into the mix. Who are you? Who were you in Atlantean time at the last Aquarian age? Who, and who are you as far as like your ability, your experience, your permission to embody your light, And so what are the deep, dark secrets hidden within you, in your consciousness? Like, this is why this is all coming up right now, because we got to clean out that subconscious so we stop creating from that place. We've all been under mind control and this trauma-based programming, and that's why our world is trauma-based. And so now we're removing the mechanisms of control, and that was the most powerful part of very beautiful Libra Full Moon activation. So consider going to get that replay if you didn't get that. Really powerful opportunity to break ties with control forces, to receive back the energy of the garden, to align. So and we got some soul retrieval energy, timeline alignment. So, but really breaking these ties where we're saying, wait a minute, these bullies have been trying to keep us from who we are, like our own energy, our own power, and got us so scared. And a lot of this fear and trauma, terror energy is being triggered right now because it's just the end degrees of Pisces. The end degrees of Pisces was the beginning of the Piscean Age, because the ages move backwards. And that was right, that like we all experienced supernova souls, most of us incarnated at the last shift of ages and experienced those spiritual persecutions. So it's all coming up in our field to be released from the mother's body, like all of this misuse of technology, misuse of her resources, misuse of her love and her care and her offerings. And just like where humanity and consciousness stands up and say, wait, we love you. And this is the beautiful thing. I talk a lot about homeopathy, and when you work with someone in classical homeopathy, you very detailed case taking. You sit down and you have to really pay attention, get the symptoms, and write them down in the words exactly the way they said, so you know that you're not reading into them and all this. And then the magic that happens when the body feels heard and listened to through our symptoms, And then that's really the first and only step, crucial gateway, to engage the heart, It's the only way healing happens. And the healing happens from our body being stimulated into healing itself from the messages, from the love, from the care, and so this is where we need to be with Mother Earth, not just like, oh, it's like really listen to her through our body and talk to her and thank her and praise her and love her and talk to the waters of the earth and the waters of your body and thank them, and praise them and love them and celebrate this new rebirth that's happening in the primary waters. These primary waters deep under the ground that they don't want us to know it exist and have been blocked through artificial technological grids. The water can come up and respond. Just like our subconscious, just like Dr. Emoto showed, when you talk to water, it responds. It carries the message. The water can respond to us and come up from the earth and surround those fires, even created with directed energy weapons. The water can come and meet us because we know in our heart of hearts with the mother is that the fire is the water and the water is the fire. This is what it means to be an alchemist, and we're doing this in our very own body. And so the terror program of fire and water on the earth must come to a close. We're moving into a energy of plasma. Like she can't break, she bends, and miracles, and understanding that we're a part of this. And all we need to do is align with her to know that we're heading in just the right direction. And so this is the realigning that the Mars retrograde was about all the way back from October. And still Mars retrograde doesn't resolve until the 26th of May, I believe, or let's see. I believe the 26th of April or May. I don't have it right in front of me, but so we are basically looking at the retrogrades resolving, coming out of retrograde shadow through this next few weeks and into May, the first half of May. And so we're, and maybe coming to the end of May. So just know that we're still working all this stuff out. And as you start to move again, after being stuck, because we've been stuck in this evolution for a long time, we've been stuck in this retrograde to get us out of being stuck. But when you first start moving again, you sometimes feel more stuck because you're going to find the tentacles and the cords and the entanglements and the messes that haven't been cleaned up yet. And just can we meet these with gratitude? Like, thank you for showing me this because I can see it now. And there's something about stepping into the fire of the emotions right now. Well, the power of our emotions, understanding that it's the power of emotions of why they study us, why they manipulate us. All of this is because of the human evolution, human spiritual evolution has a massive range of emotional power. So that's how we've been controlled, and it's how we're going to break free, right? Because we got to turn all this nightmare stuff around and get to that happy place and just own it. Say, this is our world now. We're coming together in that beautiful picture that came through the Libra Full Moon activation. Multi-technicolor bird, a big, huge bird of moving bodies across the earth. The power of the movement of the people, the SuperNova souls, each reflecting a different color of light in this iridescent, beautiful one organism, finally coming together to do the work we came here to do. And so we stand at this place in the countdown to rebirth. And we say, it's the energy of this one organism that supernova souls are coming back to do this work together, is that, of course, it's more than its parts. It's a force to be reckoned with. It's a connection. It's an understanding of our interconnection and the power of our cooperation. And so we're just standing there. We're just showing up and we're saying, hey, it has an energy of an offensive move, and we've been in defense. I know, I don't know, SuperNova, I am so sorry for anything you've gone through as far as targeting and strange, horrible things that have happened to you, because it turns out we have been very targeted, and you might not have even realized it. Just kind of taking it personally that things aren't working out in your life, and it's just been such a difficult time. And this is where we stand and we say, yeah, no, we're powerful spiritual beings, and we've had enough. Now we're not playing this game anymore. We're playing our game, Mom's game. We're going back to the garden. And this, Mercury trine Mars, countdown to the rebirth of Earth. So remember that as you move, this, that's when the entanglements show themselves. So just be patient. It's super glitchy when Mercury turns direct and coming out of retrograde shadow. And then Venus is going to be right there. Mars, moving into Leo. And so it's interesting that Mars is moving into Leo, and that's just like, oh my gosh, after all this time in Cancer. Mars has been in Cancer since January 7th. Just this going back home to mom, going back to face the home, going to be vulnerable, going to just own our shit, have our initiation. And Mars moving into Leo is like, the light, we're coming back. We're here. We can do this. It's going to be okay. We went through that darkness so that we can shine our light, feel worthy of our light. But coming into that fixed T-square, it's kind of like, but isn't that where we are? Like, time to change, turn the wheel of time. We got to, and so it's like jimmying the lock. And that's what's so cool. We're really helped by the sextiles in the background. Saturn, sextile Uranus. This is the beautiful configuration we had all last week of Mercury, Venus, Saturn, trine Mars, and then sextile to Uranus. And so that's highlighting this Saturn sextile Uranus, and that is exact from March 28th until April 13th. So we're just completing that, but we'll feel the effect of it. We'll continue to feel that through the end of May. And actually, it'll continue because in August, it comes back. And that will be August 8th through 16th. And we'll feel it all the way to the end of September. So this is a beautiful energy of just like we said, jimmying the lock on our reality, because Uranus in Taurus is, do we have permission for our higher wisdom and higher knowledge and to embody that? And then Saturn in Pisces, but we'll be moving over into the sign of Aries. And so so Saturn sextile Uranus, and Uranus will be moving into Gemini. So then the sextile will happen in the air, in Gemini and Aries. So so then we're moving into, and we're going to have a bunch of air energy with Pluto's in Aquarius. And so we're coming into this new renaissance, right? So that's what this astrology is saying. It's all about recapitulating to move into the new age. And here we are. The third and final square of Jupiter square Saturn happens in June. And so that's really powerful because that's like the end of this corner that we're going around in the 90-degree corner at the top of the pyramid. The whole thing is like, when the kid came through the Agar Casey readings, the configuration is a metaphor for spiritual ascension and the evolution, a spiritual evolution of humanity. So there's a final turn at the highest corner, and it goes up from there. And that's where we're at. And so we're literally, so this is why life is so weird and intense, because we're stuck in the old patterns, having to cry our eyes out and release, and feeling like we're never going to get back out again, but it's because we're hidden under the lies. That's the Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. And the biggest lie in Scorpio that we're looking at is Black Moon Lilith is often deep dark secrets, but often around the feminine. Scorpio, we're looking at our access to creation energy. And this is how we heal ourselves. It's how we free ourselves. It's how we access our superpowers. We've got to be able to get back to, we have this huge amount of creation energy available to us as our birthright, but we have been restricted from it, bought and sold, and and farmed in this energy, you know. So this is everything we're talking about, stepping back into this full permission for the energy. And then what will we do with that energy? Because I have to say, it feels good, it feels better, you know. It feels light and free. Sometimes when things start to release in life, it can almost feel scarier, or there you can bring anxiety, because we're so used to our constructs. You know, we're so used to our ego constructs, our belief systems. And so we have to, this is what's all breaking down, you know. Um, and so right now we've got Venus is spending quite a bit of time with Saturn, because Venus retrograded back to 24 degrees. And so Saturn has now just made it to 26 degrees. And so as Venus is turning direct, she's hanging out right there with Saturn. That means a long conjunction for them from the 9th to the 17th. And that's really interesting, because that 16th, 17th, we're moving into those energies of the shift into the fixed signs, or into the fire signs and the fixed T-square. So it's kind of, and it just fits that astrology, that Mercury in exact trine to Mars for a countdown, because that's just the energy. And so know that, yes, it's going to be changing. The astrology is actually telling us exactly when, and so we can prepare and be ready for that, right? So the 29 degrees Mercury trine Mars is on the 16th. So that's the start, apparently, the energy here, just a couple of days, and we'll see what happens. So the other thing that's going on, we talked about that sextile in the backdrop, and one of the things that's just starting, that we're just starting to feel, is Pluto in, now that your Neptune has made it into Aries, and Pluto there means they're in a sextile relationship. And so they're still 3 degrees apart, but they're coming a little bit closer into the sextile. Same thing with that Saturn sextile Uranus. And it's a very beautiful energy of like, well, we're breaking it down. We're at the end. We've got to make a turn. We can't go the way we're going. Like, we got to crash the old system and build the new. But Pluto says in Aquarius, sextile Neptune in Aries, says we could do this, though. I think we could see a different way. This is the energy, and this is who supernova souls really are in the world. You know, you can see a different way, better way to do it. And you've never been able to fully use your skills on that level, but that's the chapter we're moving into. So see a better way, you know, just feel it and see it, because we're creating those structures as we live and breathe these truths right now. They're being created as we speak. That I have been shown this, that New Earth is being created like right now. Everything you've dreamed of is already being put into place, you know, behind the scenes. And then we run with it. And I don't know exactly what that means or looks like, but Pluto sextile Neptune is kind of like, all right, so Pluto, we're going to break down the delusions of the past so we can come into a new clarity about how to build a new dream, and the Aquarian dream. So that's really powerful. And then Pluto will come into sextile with Uranus when Uranus moves into Gemini in August through October. August, end of August through the beginning of October. So keep in mind that this year is difficult, because we're going back and forth between the old dramas and the new, and it's really excruciating. It's a countdown to rebirth. We're in the birth canal. We've been stuck there for so long. But there's also these magical sextiles happening in the big backdrop scene. Very different energy, you know? It's kind of like having a magic wand, and what if you could? And is this what we need to ask for right now in our being? you know, this highest level divine intervention. Like, I'm done with playing these games. You know, I'm ready to take responsibility for my consciousness, for my ability to co-create, for my life. Like, we're ready to stand up and put our big girl panties on and get to work here, and to tell the universe this, and to receive the detox, receive the ego death, receive, just come back to being the temple in every moment of every day as much as you can. And know that all the supernova souls are trying to be and grow in that temple, the same one. And so the time is coming that we can feel each other, work together, come into the beautiful organism of the technicolor bird that the supernova souls are here, moving forward now, right? Not in Stockholm syndrome, but we're kind of teetering on the edge. So just be patient with yourself, be gentle, let yourself process. Writing is really good, being in nature, of course, being around running water. Also important to move these old stuck emotions. What if this is your last chance to clear that nitty gritty out of your subconscious? And so we stand and we face it, even the darkest, not pretty, and we step into the fires and let it all burn away, so we can come back home to mom. So very powerful energies, just knowing that, remembering that from the 20th to the 23rd is when the sun will be square Pluto and Black Moon Lilith, the sun in the mix, and Mars, all that. And then that is kind of like our identity is in the square, you know, so our ego death and who the false parts of ourselves, like, all has to go. And then the real part of ourselves can be born. And so then Mars comes into that exact opposition with Pluto and square Black Moon Lilith in the last week of April. And so these are our crux turning points, and let's take advantage and make the most, because it really is time to take a leap and just align yourself. And we're talking about in the activation how frustrating it is to feel this pull, this call, this directed into our true north. And yet, so the more we feel that alignment and direction, the less we know what we're doing or can plan or figure out. And it's just really uncomfortable. And yet we're at that place of total surrender into each moment. And maybe as we breathe the garden into existence, then we can call the people around us who are looking for that, who want that energy, who want to help us build ashrams for her, you know, and travel and show the world, demonstrate, because you cannot tell them, you got to show them and let them know how powerful we are, and that we're not playing games anymore. We're going to come into our birthright, all the energy that's available to us at our disposal to create the world we want to see, the right world, you know, that's in alignment, the better way to do it. So just keep being in that energy. And thank you so much, Supernova Soul, for all you've gone through. And to be here right now. Thank you so much. Know you can call on your brothers and sisters, because we're all going through it, but not at the same time. So reach out to your supernova brothers and sisters energetically, you know, on the astral plane. Because if we're really an organism that's coming back into a oneness, then we can have the support of each other even if we're not in the same location. Doesn't that make sense? And we are forging our way back together. There's no other way. And that is our birthright. That's the deepest pain for us, you know. But when we got targeted, we targeted the people around us. And we said, okay, I better just in order to keep my tribe safe, I better not be around them. And so now all of those walls are crumbling down, because the trauma drama narratives are crumbling down. And it's like just coming back into the dirt, into the dust, into the raw materials, into the love that we are. And just keep coming back there and know that you're going to be okay. And step into the fires. And the fire is the water. And that Mother loves us. She wants us to talk to her. and invite the waters to come up and give us the optimal perfect weather, to undo the control grid, to turn all of the negative frequencies into Tesla healing frequencies, to ring the bells of olden times that were destroyed in the name of making ammunition. No, it was to get rid of the power of these bells. And the thing is that these bells could resonate at such a frequency that it could clear the air of negative entities. So now we know why they got rid of them. And now we know why we must bring them back. But the thing is that it's going to take a little bit to find the bells and remake the bells and get them hung. And we're the bell. We're the med bed. We've got all the technologies within us. And so just hang in there and know that that's what this is about. Your light is turning on. It feels like you're dying and disintegrating into pieces. But really, it's a countdown to rebirth. And I'm so glad to be here with you. And so let's stay connected. That we got the energy of that replay of that activation. We want to work with that all the way to the Taurus New Moon coming up. Very powerful and intense energies, the most intense energies of the whole year. And yet it's a breakthrough moment. And can we take it and run with it? And so I'm so glad you're here and paying attention and being present with these powerful moments here together. So thank you so much, SuperNova Souls. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.